And so, my dear ones, on this wonderful Sunday, which of course is Father's Day, we're in a celebratory frame of mind because it is a wonderful thing to celebrate. And that is why I love all the various and sundry holidays and personal anniversaries and personal reasons to celebrate. Because that's what life is. It is the breath of life and celebration. And we continue this month now with mindfulness and presence and what true breath is all about, and clear focus and integrated thinking and integrated living in all that we think and say and do and are. That's what we're here to do. And today's topic is interesting, save your breath. And really, it's a very good practice to save our breath in everything, in the way we think, in the way we feel, in the way we speak, in the way we act, in the way we are, to save the breath and not waste or use or abuse it in any way through the way we think, through the way we feel, through the way we speak, through the way we act, through the way we are. Save the breath. And you and I know that in spite of our forgetfulness at certain times, we do take big gulps of breath just to regenerate the energy within us, or to hold ourselves still, or to pull ourselves back from some brink or another, or just to appreciate the fact that I'm still breathing. It's a beautiful thing to be one with the breath, to be aware of the breath, because it's not just breath, air. It's your life force, essence of being, and mine too, and all of lives. It's, if you like, spiritual oxygen, but it's spiritual energy, and it is who and what we are, the breath of life. In the beginning was the Word. It is written in 1 John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and so on and so forth. What do you think the Word is? It's not a word. It's not a written symbol. The Word is the very essence of life. It's the breath of life. It's the truth of life. It's the beingness of life. That's what the Word is. And out of the Word comes everything. Everything springs up out of the breath, out of the energy, out of the essence, out of the presence. Everything, everything, everything. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us. In the beginning, the infinite, the divine, had an idea. It imaged something. It imagined something. And the something it imaged and imagined, it breathed into it life force of being. And that breath became an experience on the material platform of life and living. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us. Now, the way the divine creates, you do, and so do I. We image something. Something comes to mind, a flash comes to mind. We image it, we picture it, and then we look at it and we see if we agree with it, and then we agree with it, and then we feel around it, and then we get convicted that this is a good idea. The energy begins to move on it. The conviction is the energy and the feeling that moves on it. Once it starts moving on it, there is that divine spark within us, the breath of life itself that moves upon it, clears all the way before it for it to come into your life and my life as an experience, and it does, and that's how it's made flesh. It's like a pregnancy. The seed of the thought, the word is sown. And then the pregnancy itself has to do with you developing it, the thinking around it, the feeling around it, the ruminating around it, the conviction around it, the supporting of the idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I know it's true. Yeah, honest to Pete. Yeah, it's a good thing. This is going to happen. I'm going to know it's going to happen. Then I start believing in it as the pregnancy progresses. I believe it. I believe it's going to happen. I believe it is going to happen. I believe it is going to happen. And when I sustain that and I feed and nurture and develop that, the birthday comes. And I give birth to that idea that once upon a time was just an image. And there it is as an experience in my life. It's phenomenal. Life is always birthing something or another. That's all life is all about, one great big birthing process. This is just one great big maternity ward we're all living in. We're always birthing something or another, and you and I are midwives. All of us are midwives supporting these births in ourselves and everything and everyone else too. That's how the Word is made flesh. That is how the breath of life in its continuum keeps on birthing something, breathing something into being. That's how you do it, that's how I do it. Now, I'm not expecting us all to get this and understand this immediately. What in God's name is she talking about and rambling on about? I'm talking about be careful. Be very, very careful with your word, because your word is power. And it's the greatest power that exists in all of existence. Your word, my word, the word. And that word gets spoken very clearly through the way you and I think, feel, behave, act, and show up in life. That word gets spoken through words, spoken words, written words, and through silence, and through the word of action, behavior. Word is made flesh in very many ways. Everybody heard it reverberated around the world when Gandhi and Martin Luther King marched in silence to support human rights. Not a word spoken, silence. But that silent word thundered around the world. Rosa Parks, when she sat in silence and refused to get up off of that seat in that bus and move her place, her word of silence thundered throughout the world. Today, when our police officers bent their knee in silent protest, supporting Black Lives Matter and human rights, their word thundered around the world. People respond to the genuine word that is spoken, however it is spoken. Your word resounds throughout the world too, whether it is spoken or whether it is silent, whether it is action, whether it is written, whether it is said. Every single word is responded to. And do you know how it is responded to? Ernest Holmes has written this. He's written many things, and he was the founder of Science of Mind and Spirit. And really, all Science of Mind and Spirit is a compilation of the great wisdom throughout the whole world in the sciences, in the religions, in psychology and philosophy. He found the golden thread. He saw the commonality in it all. Put it under one book called Science of Mind and Spirit. And he says, God is infinite intelligence and spirit, and responds to the human intelligence and spirit and mind. When the word is spoken, that is, when the thought is imaged, when the idea comes, infinite intelligence responds to it. How? Through corresponding to it. Did you really ever fully realize that, get that, grasp that? That every thought you think, every image you entertain, all your imaginings, all your contemplations, all your ruminations, all that goes on in your mind, in your heart, in your life, as a thought or a picture or an image, infinite intelligence is wrapping itself around it by corresponding to all your thinking, all your feeling, all your doing, and helping you, making the way clear before you for those ruminations to come into your life as an experience, good, bad, or indifferent. That infinite intelligence responds to all your negative thinking as it does your affirmative thinking. Isn't that amazing? That's the kind of freedom you were given when you were created, and I was given too. Because this thing called life, this thing called God, this thing called spirit, this thing called, infinite intelligence and self is not a benevolent despot. Doesn't decide what you get to think or what you get to produce in your life. You wouldn't have freedom if that was so. You have the freedom. It's a beautiful power and energy and a presence available to you, and in its essence, before you think into it, it's neutral. It's neutral. Your thinking into it creates the experience you're going to have, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, because all that this amazing law of mind that is available to you, called in orthodoxy the Holy Spirit, all it wants to do is give you what you imagine, what you think, what you want. And what you want is what's in your mind, according to the law of mind. And so if that's trouble, it's going to support you in having more trouble in your life. If that's wickedness, it's going to support you in having more wickedness in your life. If that is kindness and goodness, it's going to support you so that you can have more kindness, more goodness in your life, because it honors you as a sovereign being. But you see, the divine heart, the divine life, the divine light, the divine love, the divine awareness knows that sooner or later all of us will wake up and come home to ourselves like the prodigal. So the infinite knows that we have all time and eternity to get it, and to wake up and to arise, make up our minds, we're done with this, we're finished with this, it's ridiculous. I'm going back home to my Father where I can live in comfort and ease and beg forgiveness and hope I'm received. Of course, if you know anything about the story of the prodigal, and if you don't, look it up, the prodigal son, look it up. Google it, the prodigal son. It's a beautiful story. It's your story, it's my story. So the question today for you and for me is, what in heaven's name are you thinking? What are you thinking? Did your mother ever say to you, what were you thinking, child? My mother did. Nothing, Mommy. What are you thinking, my dear? What am I thinking? Because it's producing the life experiences I'm having. And I see room for me in my life for improvement. I really do. Now, as far as the word is concerned, whether it be your spoken word, I think all of us could clean up that. I think all of us would find some adjustments that we could make in the words that we speak. But of course, the words that we speak are only the thoughts that we've been entertaining before we speak the words. And yet words, my dear, they can harm greatly or they can heal beautifully. They have power. Every word has an energy. Every word has an energy attached to it. Every word is a pool of energy, a point of energy. They're like darts that we send out. Now, are they darts of goodness and kindness and love? Are they love darts that hit us and change us for the better? Or are they darts that kill us, kill our spirit, damage our sense of ourself? What kind of words are we speaking to each other? And let me tell you, silence can really, really injure just as much as spoken or written words can. It was Harriet Beecher Stowe who said that the pen is mightier than the sword. The word is mightier than the sword, however the word is expressed. Yes, it is. These are interesting times, to say the very least, we're all living in. They're the best of times and they are the worst of times. I just read in a little book this morning called Words to Change the World by Hayden. But Hayden spells his name in a strange way. P-H-A-I-D-O-N. Hayden. Who knew? Anyway, fabulous little book to knock us off our chairs when we're reading it. And in that book I came across, you know what? I think these are the good old days. Not because they are the good old days, but because I am alive to experience them and change them. And change them. I mean, this is history repeating itself over and over and over again where we find ourselves today. Gandhi said when he was struggling to free India and get freedom for India and human rights, not just getting India free, but human rights for the outcasts and so on and so forth in the country at that time. He said, "We are now engaged in spiritual war. These are not normal times." Direct quote. Well, he could have said that today if he were living amongst us. And guess what? I used to think, well, where are the Martin Luther Kings? Where are the Gandhis? Where are the Nelson Mandelas? Where are the Mother Teresas? Well, they're still with us. Their words are with us. They're ever, ever, ever new and relevant. Their words are with us. For heaven's sake, it was Mikhail Gorbachev way back when said that tolerance is the alpha and the omega of a new world order. Way back when. Tolerance, can you believe that? For those of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear and eyes to read with or ears to listen to, all of the ancient wisdom is ever new. All of the wisdom of the ages is available to us today. But as it is written in the ancient scriptures, you know, the prophets who are always given terribly difficult jobs, it seems to me, or accepting difficult jobs, they were told, listen, you're going to be speaking to people whose eyes are blind, ears are deaf, and their hearts have grown fat. Well, good luck with that. And it's ever the same. We're on the same old merry-go-round, but this time, you, yes, you, dear-hearted you, and myself, and everybody else on this planet can make sure we're not going back to the good old days that never were good old days, and that we are indeed going to help create a new and different world for heaven's sake. Can't we vision enough, deeply enough, more of us enough, to see a world that works for every single person on the planet and for all of creation, all of nature too? It's your responsibility, it's my responsibility, and it's no one else's to do your part and my part in all of this. So where does it come back to, my dear ones? I have great empathy for us all because our task is really cut out for us. It starts with you and it starts with me. We need to clean up our minds. We need to clean up our thinking, clean up our speech, clean up our silences, and make sure that they are effective and affirmative silences, and so on, and make sure that our hearts, our minds, our thoughts, our feelings are all aligned in that deep desire to want a world that works for everybody. Now, yes, it might mean that you and I must dispossess ourselves a little bit in order that everybody else could have a little bit more. That might happen, but here's the thing about that. If you trust divine providence, if you trust your source, and if you know you'll never be in want and never go without, and you'll always have enough, and the enough will always be plenty, and out of the plenty you'll have plenty to share, I guarantee you it will happen that way. Because many of us have proved this over and over and over again. So trust the living breath within you. Trust the living life within you. Trust the beauty and the power and the grace of Spirit within you, because that's who you are. That's what you are. That's your truth. You're amazing. You're phenomenal. You're incredible. You're unique. No one can do what you're here to do, and you can do it, and so can I, but only if we do it together, because it's not enough to be all of us in this. We're all in this. We hear it all the time. We need to be in this together, yes, but as one heart, knowing this is passing, and we are going to know life as we've never known it before. And life will be the better for it all, because you're deciding that, and I'm deciding that now. So I will leave you with this thought, as I often do. You are a point of light, a point of power, through which the infinite, in all of its power, in all of its radiance and magnificence, can express itself fully by means of you, if you allow it and you open the portal for all of that to pour through you. For you are the one, and there is none other. You are the one, and I know that all of us together will move ahead and make the difference. And so it is with deep respect, it is with deep reverence, I say to you, that the light that is in this room, the light that is in all of the people in this room, all 6 of us, greets and recognizes the light within you. And that's the truth, and so it is.